Hi everyone, Alex is here and today we'll be talking about authorization. So basically about GWT, about how all these things work, how we can implement it, and in general, why do we need that? So, um, in general, that's quite interesting that when you're going to nearly all of the applications, they're using GWT tokens to identify that you're logged in and in general to discover what you should get, because nearly all of them users, they can have different results from that or another APIs. And today we'll be once more thinking about how we can implement that. And in general, let's start. So here we see our application, and I have made a folder with preset comments for us to be easier to work with that. And let's start from the first one. It's just a Python thought start. So in general, what we should make a virtual environment. It will help us to take all of the required libraries in our project, so we shouldn't take it for all of our computer. Some of preset libraries should be in specific folder in a specific project. That's how it works. And we're just activating that, we're installing the latest PIP, why not? And we are taking the latest requirements that we should have. And in general, we can just copy these files, just copy this thing. We can open a new image, because I see here my event. Let's deactivate that, clear, and let's create it. So we're just passing this, just 4 lines of code, just hitting enter. It will firstly create event, then it will activate it, then install pip, then it will install all the libraries that we should have, and that's all we said. That's all that we should have. So let's go and discover how our application is working. Let's go. So here we have main.py file, and I don't know why why it shows me that we should import these things. They're already imported, but it doesn't matter a lot. And this is all of our application that we should have just to check how does it work. Really, nothing more special. In general, when you're trying to start with working with GWT, firstly, what you should understand the structure and how it in general works. So GWT is JSON Web Token, and in general it just takes a part of your information about you and just making it to hash, and it also sign that. So what it will help us for? The part of that will be, for example, your username. A part of that could be your email, your name, your password sometimes. It's weird, but it could be. And all of that is your GWT. In general, when you're using Kcloak, when you're using Authorization, or in general any other type of authorization, you can receive this one, and mostly every time you will take it. And after taking that, you're sending that to headers. And why you're doing that? So have you ever wondering, when you are logging to any application, for example, let it be Amazon, when you are taken to the cart, it is specific API, how it can understand that you're specifically making this request? So it is making mostly with this authorization. So it can have in the session your current user, but every time it should check if it is really you. And this authorization token, it can expire like in a 15 minutes, and it will renew every 15 minutes, for example, and it will prove that you are that person who is owning this account, that this is authorized action. That's an important thing. So JWT helps application to understand that you're the person with whom we are working on. And let's check what we are doing here. So first we are taking FastAPI. FastAPI is just a library that will help you to work with your server, so we can make it localhost and we can just work with all this authorization stuff. And hopefully for us, FastAPI have a security thing that calls to password barrier. It's one of the types of such JWT tokens, and probably of these types I will tell you in the next video. So today we will be just specifically working with barrier and what you're doing here. So firstly, we're loading environment. What is environment? env environment. This is the place where all the secret information can be stored. For example, secret key. What is that? This is the specific sign only for your application. And in general, this sign can prove that only this application and the person who knows specific sign can prove that you are making this request. So if, for example, we're making Amazon request to take our cart, we have a specific JWT token. If you want to just take it and use it in another application, and let's imagine that you have the same username, name, email, date of birth, all the information is just the duplicate like in Amazon. And they're using they're taking the same things in Amazon and that your application. So will your JWT token looks the same as in Amazon? No, and here the sign is making that real. What does it do? It makes specific random letters that can just make this JWT token different. And that's why it is secured, because only this specific application know this secret key that will shifter your JWT token, and it will be looking different even if it is the same information in your applications. So how we can make that? For such secret key, we can just use OpenSSL random hex 32 bytes command, and if we'll do that, let's copy that, and we can write here clear, just to clear all the information that we have here. Click on that, and here is our random things, and here is 64 digits. You'll say, why 32? Why we can't have any other things? You could write here nearly all of the things that you wanted. Like there is some standards, for example, 8, 16, 32, 64. But in general, nearly all the applications are using 32. Why? Because when you're making less than 32, it is kind of not so secure. So if you'll take 16, you'll just have in double digits less. That's all. And that makes a little bit easier for hackers just to discover your secret key. And discovering secret key is one of the worst things that could happen with your application. That's why not 64 or more? Because if you have more of that, it will be harder and a little bit longer just to decrypt that, to encrypt that for your application, and your application could have a little bit laggy. And that's why 32 is an ideal combination. It is really encrypted, and nearly no one will take that. It's incredibly hard. Even I speaking, I don't know any of the incidents when such random hex 32 bytes was decrypted, like with any hack tool. So that will help you to be sure that your application is really secure. That's first. Secondly, 32 bytes it doesn't mean 32 letters, it means 64 letters. So 1 byte is 2 letters. Like letter or number doesn't matter in this situation. So that's how it works. So this is your sign. It is like when you're signing a deal, you have your specific sign, and this is the sign of the computer, the unique one. That's nearly all that you should have. So you just copy this one, you just paste that in your env, you're hitting that, you're hiding that, that's all. Really, nothing more you should work with on. And let's continue. When you have this env file, you can freely show your logic of how your authorization could work, because even if I will show you that right now and I will use the same one in any of my applications, you won't be able to hack it, because the secret key, this is the thing how you can decrypt your username and password, for example. And you won't be able to do this just because we have secret key. So we're taking this env file, we're just loading that, and we are starting our application. We're using our auto schema and token URL token. In general, you should just take it for now, because there are, once more time, a lot of different types of authorization. There are a lot of even specific commands in the companies that are working with authorization stuff, and this is one of the variants that we can use just to work with barrier token. And yeah, so basically you can just write that and they will understand that you work with token. So then we're taking the just variables, so secret key and algorithmics. Secret key, we're just taking it from VNV to this place bus security. So nearly never put your secret key to your main file just like a string. It's a huge security leak. Don't do that. You take algorithmics, and in general this one will help you to crypt and decrypt your key in the one specific way. So because also these algorithmics, they're different. It is like Caesar, for example, in an ancient Rome, he was sending letters when the letters have been mixed up, for example, and this was specific algorithm how he can encrypt his message. And this is the same thing, this is one of the methods, and the secret key is just a sign that can mix it up. So with the same algorithmic and the secret key, you can encrypt and decrypt that, and you won't be able to take the secret key, algorithmic, encrypt it in the one way, take another secret key and the same algorithm and decrypt that. Not. You cannot take the same secret key but different algorithms for encrypt and decrypt. No, it should be the same. And this is also one of the things that can trick the hacker, because no one knows which algorithm you will use. Yes, so let's continue. We have our fake user database. So here I'm just taking Alex database, like Alex user with username, password, ID, like something really easy, fake user database. But one thing that you should know, that the password mostly it is hacked here, so it is already encrypted, and when you're receiving it from your database, it is already encrypted, and and so you're taking, for example, if you're using password for your JWT token, you're taking already encrypted password into this JWT token, and it will be like double encryption, so it will help you. And so what we have next? We have create access token. And what do we have here? In general, we have our data that we'll use for an encryption. So once more, we'll take the data that we wanted to encrypt. It can be a lot of different things. You can use username, IDs, or you can use a couple of things. For example, you can add your username and ID for your JWT token, and it will encrypt. So more information you'll add, harder JWT token will be, and it will be a little bit harder to decrypt that. And I think my own recommendation will use username ID, because ID mostly it's not like one, it can be something like this. And taking ID will be one of the best things that you can take, because ID is a specific thing. ID, username or email, and the name. That's I think, for my opinion, that's ideal combination. You shouldn't take password or any other things. These three things will be the best to work with. And how do we do this? So first, we're making deep copy. Who doesn't know what is copy in a Python? So copy takes your data, like your dictionary, and it makes the deep copy. So if it will be encrypted, mostly your original data file will be also encrypted. And for example, you should just leave one of your dictionaries not modified and another one to be modified. And copy will make this deep copy and will help you to encrypt and decrypt and just working with another dictionary without modifying any way the first one. So we are taking that. It will be if we're taking, for example, all of this object, it will be modified here, for example here, but it was modified in this fake user database. We're taking expiration, so you can see here expiration delta. We're taking the time it is right now plus 15 minutes ahead. So our JWT token will just expire every 15 minutes. It is once more time for your safety, because you can just leave, for example, your laptop open. You can use unsecure place where you can send your information, and this JWT can be taken. And for more security, we are just expired that, and it will then retaken. For example, it can also be retaken when you're making one of them requests. For example, you're making requests every 15 minutes. It will help your login secure, or for example, it can double check your information in any ways. And what we are doing, so we are, in this to encrypt, we are taking expiration. We are creating expiration field, and we are taking this expire. So in general, we'll have something like this right now, expire, and it could be any number of dates. For example, we'll see what we are placing in the data. For example, my once more thing, it will be username, ID, and maybe the name if you have that in your database. And you're returning just encrypt, so you're taking JWT, one of the things that you're importing. So you're importing JAWS for JWT, data, .environment, and OS just to take your file from Envy in general. And so we're taking this JWT, we're encoding that, what we'll have in this encode, which secret key we're using, and which algorithm. So that's all what we are using for that. And then we have just two methods how we can work with that. So first is token. So mostly when we are working with JWT and we wanted to take the token, we're making a post request. And in this post request, we're just showing like username, password, like all the other information that you should have for logging in. And you can check it here. So we're just taking login, we're taking username, password. And what we are doing, we're creating our user variable. So with this user variable, we are just taking the information from the DB based on user. So first we are taking the user and we are checking if not user. So if there is a problem with user or password doesn't equal to password, we're making HTTP exception that 41 unauthorized. So there are a lot of codes. If you would like to, I will make a specific video about the codes that we have and how to work with them, how to handle them. But basically this one, 401, we just should know that it's unauthorized. It means that the user isn't logged in and cannot go to the specific file or to the specific route of the application. And once more, it can be if the user wasn't found, so you just write a random username, or the password isn't equal to the one that you have in your place. So, but basically, when you're working with that, password will be encrypted, and also you're encrypting the password that is inputting from the form. Yeah, so that's how it can work. So what we're doing next, we're taking token data, that is the thing that we'll put in our access token. And here, one of the variants, we're just taking the subparameter, and we're just taking the user ID, in this case 1, and we'll just encrypt 1 with our expiration date. Like the simplest JWT that could be. Once more, my recommendation is to use username and name and ID, of course. That will be, as for me, ideal variant to work with that. So, access token will just return you the random hash. It will be something similar to this one that we have here. Something similar. And mostly when you're taking this token, you receive in any of the applications when you'll be working with that token type and access token. So access token is specific hashed encrypted variables, values that are creating that this is you, so you have been logged in. And token type, once more time, there are different types of them. So we have barrier here, and when you are making request, we'll take our token type plus our access token, and we're making request, and I'll show you that. But first, let's take how this token will work. So we are taking login. We're using Corel, so it is just a way how we can make a request for our application and how we can work with that. So we can run that. Also, this is interesting for me. Can we run it in this way? No, sadly it won't. First, I understand that we're using unicorn. So one sec. So I'm back here. So I just added a server start. Just on speaking, forgot to put it in our file. So server start, how we can start our server. We're using unicorn, we're taking our app main, and we're using parameter reload. So when we'll save something for our file, it will automatically reload the server. So we're just taking that, we're removing this one, and we're going here. We're just putting this one, and here is the server that we have. So info, everything started, everything is good. Our port is localhost or 127.0.0.1. So in general, this is just our localhost. It is specific API, local API. And if you would like to have, just write in the comments. I will make a video about APIs and how to work with them and what is localhost. So let's continue. What we have also here. So let's make a request for our token. So we're making post request for this URL. So localhost 2800, this is our application. We're using content type URL encoded. So we'll send encoded parameters, and our application will take it. So they will take a username and password. And so our username will be Alex and password test123. So what we have specifically here, you will put it here, and also we'll write for, you will see invalid credentials, so that we cannot come here. You see invalid credentials, and it will be response 401 status, but it will write the right one. Access token, we see everything we have here. We see here unauthorized 401 and 200. Okay, so our request was good, and take a look on that. Access token, our secret token, and the access barrier. So you can check that it is something in the way we got this one, but it's longer. And yeah, so it will definitely help us to authorize with our application. And let's go next. So what we have here next? Protect. So when you want to make any of your rows, for example, just to go to the card pass, you will make this protection, and they just will checking this authorization. And how they will do that? In general, there will be a specific one more road that will go, like you're going to, for example, to card. It will go to the protect firstly. It will check if your JWT is real, and then you will be going to get to card. You don't see that nearly all the times, but it is how it works approximately. And here will go to the road protected to check how it works. And you can check out. So we're going to protect it. We're taking the token that is in our request, and where depends on our schema. So this thing will help us to decode and help to check if the user is authorized to go to such place. And when we're coming, so we're trying to decode our token. So we're taking the token that we have been received, our secret key, our algorithm, and from this payload we can take some of the information, because once more time, this is an object that we just hashed, and it's our random user with this real data, and we can take the user ID here. So we're taking payload and we're getting, it's like a dictionary. We're just getting a specific property, and our property will be sub, like here. So it will be, when we're decoding our payload will look like that. It will look like 1, and on that we're just taking this one and we'll just show that. That's all what we'll do. And let's check it. So how we can make this request? We're going to access, and here you see one difference. We are putting headers authorization, and if you go to nearly all the applications, you'll see this authorization, and you'll see mostly barrier, and here you'll see the token, specific token that only you have to be sure that you're the user authorized to do this specific thing. So we are taking this access token, put it here. That's what we have. And let's take this kernel, put it here, and see if our request will go. Access granted. And you to know that it's for sure. I will just remove the last key from this request, and we'll have invalid token. So all of the things should be equal to how it is in your, even not in your database. So this is the logic, how your application works. So that's why when even your database will be hacked, it doesn't mean that the people will be, like the hackers will authorize to the specific place, because they should know the logic, they should know the secret key, the algorithm that you're using, and which parameters you're putting there to work with your specific authorization. That's how JWT is working. It's there are a lot of different things interesting. Why we're using barrier, why we are putting this specific information, and how we can make this dependence to the road, to protection for our specific road, how we can go to the card, and how specifically it will go to the protected URL to check our barrier, and they say, okay, it is valid token, you can go. This thing, I hope that I will tell you in the next videos. Thank you everyone to watching that. I'll be hoping to see you in the next videos, And just write in the comments what do you think about JWT and which authorization types do you like the most. All the best for you. Bye.